Hello Daily Drafters and welcome back to the channel for something a little bit different today. Today we have the Magic the Gathering Pointless Game Show, and what good is a game show without a few guests? And we begin today with our guest number 1 in Season 1. We have Nick with us here today, aka Nistar on the AGL server. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great. I mean, I've seen Pointless before. I'm interested to see how it's going to carry through to Magic the Gathering.
Awesome, that's right. Yeah, you are from... It's from Great Britain, right? Or England, roughly? Yeah. So that's where this game show kind of originated and is taken the idea from a little bit. So it makes sense that you've seen it a little bit before. So, getting into the rules for how this is going to work today is we've got a 1v1v1, and you are the first to participate. So, you're going to set the barrier for everybody here. We have 6 rounds with 6 possible questions, and you'll see what that means in a moment here. Your objective is to provide one of the 6 answers that you think the least amount of survey participants got correct. So there's a chance that you might know multiple answers, but you're going for the one you think the least amount of participants got correct. So the fewer the correct answers, the fewer points for the question, and to win, you just have to be the player that scores the lowest amount of points across all 6 rounds. Make sense?
Sounds great.
All right. We've got ourselves a practice round here. So, on your screen you see 6 cards, and your objective is to identify a card's rarity. We have Servandom Sunstar Exemplar, Elegy Acolyte, Tanic Memorial Ensign, Nova Hellkite, Uthros Titanic Godcore, and All Fates Stalker. So this won't affect your score here, but it's a little bit of a practice to see how the game's going to function. So what are you thinking of these 6 options?
So I think Elegy Acolyte and Nova Hellkite are all rare. Uthros is a mythic, and although All Fates Stalker might play a bit like a rare, I think that and Tanuk are both uncommon. And then I suppose I just have to pick the one I think least people would have got right out of those.
Exactly. But if you get it wrong, you are also assigned 100 points, although this is practice. So you have to make sure that whichever one you choose, you also are confident you are correct.
Right, okay. So I think for this round I'm confident in all of them. And there is 2 Servandams. There is an uncommon one and a rare one. I really hope that's the rare one, because that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Servandam is a rare.
All right, we're locking in Servandam is a rare. Let's see if that's correct. Looks like it is correct. And it awards you 61 points. So 61% of participants were able to get Servandam as a rare correct there. So 61 points would be your score if this wasn't a practice round here. And it sounds like you did correctly identify every single one of the rarities. So Servandam, as we saw, would give you 61 points. Elegy Acolyte is a rare, 79 points for Elegy Acolyte. Tanic Memorial Ensign, 91. Lots of people knowing that Tanic is an uncommon. Got Nova Hellkite at rare for 85. Uthros Titanic Godcore is a mythic at 82, and you are 6 for 6 in this round. All Fates Stalker, 97. I believe that's a 7 as opposed to a 1. Most of the people knew that that was an uncommon, although you are correct, it kind of does play as a rare sometimes. So there's our practice round. So let's dive into our 6 rounds here, beginning with Finish That Card Name. We have Halia, blank, Steel Swarm, Dubious, Territorial, Galactic, and Virulent. Now, I will say there are 2 Halias in this set. I am looking for the one represented by the art on the screen, which happens to be a rare. I'll give you that much. So what are we thinking here?
Wow, this is a step up from the practice round.
A little bit harder.
It's really tricky. I don't know which Halia that is. No, I don't know which one it is, but I don't know the name of that one at all.
Okay.
And the Steel Swarm and Virulent, I feel like one of them is maybe Synthesizer, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to risk getting 100 on that.
Okay.
Then the other 3, I think I can get them all. So Dubious Delicacy, it's a food.
Okay.
Galactic Wayfarer, and I think everyone's going to know that because that's one of the kind of most played commons. And then I think it's Territorial Brutar. I don't know how picky you're going to be if it's Brutar or Bruntar. I think it's one of those.
Okay.
If I say one of them and then it's the other one, does that count?
Let's say I would be picky based off of what you just said.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for... I'm gonna gamble. We're gonna say it's Territorial Brutar.
Alright, let's see if Territorial Brutar is correct. Oh, unfortunately, it's not correct. Because I like to be a little bit picky when it comes to the name of that one, particularly as we did have some respondents also say something very similar to you. So that would assign you 100 points for the first round here. So let's take a look at what these were. So you said you didn't know Halia's name, is that correct? Halia Guided by Light, and that's worth 12 points. Not a lot of people knew that as well. We've got an uncommon that some respondents claimed they had never heard of, Steel Swarm Operator, which is 18 points. You were correct, Dubious Delicacy. There is a 70 over there. So a lot of people knew that Dubious Delicacy was the card. Territorial Bruntar. You were close. It was the other one, and it was worth 33 points. So you would have gotten a good amount of score there. Galactic Wayfarer. You were correct. That is a very common in the set, but 48 points for that. I thought it would have been a little bit higher as well. And then Virulent Silencer. You were close, but Silencer, so 24 for the Silencer. So some low points available here, but we start out with 100, but still 5 rounds to recover. So let's move on to round 2. We are looking for creature stats, including fully stationed spacecraft, if it applies. So we've got Sunstar Chaplain, Emissary Escort, Entropic Battlecruiser, Infinite Guideline Station, Station Monitor, and Anti-Causal Vestige. What are we thinking here?
Okay, this one's a bit more up my alley. I'm more of a, gameplay knowing guy than a name knowing guy. So I think we've got a 3/2 Sunstar Chaplain, an 0/4 Emissary Escort. Well, it's a...
We'll go for the printed stats.
So I think that would make it a star 4. I think Entropic Battlecruiser is a 3/10. Infinite Guideline Station, I'm having a hard time actually trying to remember which card that is. I know there's the Eternity Elevator, but that's not a creature. And then there's the Dawnsire, but that's not Dawnsire. So I'm not actually sure which card that is. Station Monitor's a 2/2. An Anti-Causal Vestige, I believe, is a 7/5. So, I can't remember if Emissary Escort's a star 4 and 0/4. I'm trying to remember what the text is on the card. If it's this creature's power is equal to the highest mana value artifact you control, then it surely has to be a star 4. But I don't want to gamble on that.
Okay.
Because last time I gambled, it did not go well for me. So I'll be safer. I'll take either the Battlecruiser or the Vestige. Let's say the Entropic Battlecruiser is a 3/10.
Alright, we're going with Entropic Battlecruiser is a 3/10. Let's see if that's correct. And it is correct. How many points will it assign you? All the way down to 42. Not a bad score, 42 points for Entropic Battlecruiser. Yeah, a 3/10. It's kind of a strange stat line, but you are correct that it is.
You know, I had I have one of these in my deck in the league, and it died to depressurize twice in best of 3, both times. So I'm never forgetting that it's a 3/10.
That is certainly a way to remember it. So let's see here. You did say Sunstar Chaplain is a 3/2. You are correct. and it assigns you 42 points. Emissary Escort is actually printed as an O4, not a star 4, because it gets plus X plus O, where X is the highest mana value of artifacts. And that would have been 24 points. We did have some star 4 answers as well, but it's not quite correct based on the print of the card. Entropic Battlecruiser getting you 42. And we've got the Infinite Guideline Station as a 715. I'm not sure that's really ever been printed before, but that was also worth 24 points. Your correct Station Monitor is a 2-2, but that was worth 36. Surprisingly, not a lot of people knowing Station Monitor there. And the Vestige is 48 points and is also a 7-5. So you were about 5 for 6 in that round there. Just not getting the card that I'm sure many of us have never cast before, an Infinite Guideline Station. So, all right, moving on to round 3 here, we have the warp costs of common creatures. A little bit of a softball round for you all, but we've got Night Luminary, Mechanizoa, Perigee Beckoner, Red Tiger Mechan, Drix, Fate Maker, and Bygone Colossus. So we are looking for their specific warp cost here.
Okay, I think I can get all of these. So Night Luminary, white and 1. Mechanizoa, blue and 2. Perigee Beckoner, black and 1. Red Tiger Mechan, red and 1. Drix Fate Maker, green and 1. And then Bygone Colossus is 3 colourless, or not colourless, just 3 generic. And I think I'm either going to go for the Mechanizoa because the card itself is blue and people might have thought it's blue 1 or something along those lines. Or Drix Fate Maker, just because there is a lot of other warp cards in that deck, in the green-white deck. And, you know, it's easy to kind of get them muddled, and it's not super commonly played. Or, then again, the Red Tiger Mechan, I don't think I've ever seen that card played. So people might not be familiar with the cost there.
There you go, metagaming it by playability.
Well, that didn't work last round.
True.
Because Station Monitor was pretty low, right? So let's take the Red Tiger Mechan, and I'm going to say it's red and 1.
Okay, 1 and a red for the warp cost of Red Tiger Mechan. Let's see if that is correct. It is correct, but it gets you 94 points. Lots of people knowing Red Tiger Mechan's warp cost there. So 94 points added to the 142 gets us up to 236, I believe. Let's see if we can figure out how many points each of these cards were worth here. The Night Luminary is 1 and a white, 94 points, which is basically the same as Red Tiger Mechan there. Lots of people knowing that one. Mechanizoa, 97 points. Everybody except one respondent knew that Mechanizoa was 2 and a blue there. Perigee Beckoner, down to 61 for 1 and a black, so that's actually a little bit more difficult for folks here. Red Tiger Mechan getting us the 94. Drix Fate Maker, 76. And Bygone Colossus, also 97. So a very high point scoring round here, but Perigee Beckoner was actually the odd one out that a lot of people didn't know. So that's a little bit interesting. I'm not sure I would have predicted that either. I might have gone for the Fate Maker for myself, because like you said, it's not super commonly played, but you did correctly identify all 6, so at least there's that going for you. All right, in round 4, we have the printed mana cost for each of these cards. We've got the Eternity Elevator, the previously mentioned Eternity Elevator, the Singularity Rupture, Ice Cave Crasher, a Devastating Onslaught, also previously mentioned Depressurize, and Gigastorm Titan. So what are we thinking here?
This is a fun one. The Eternity Elevator, if I can remember it, I think is going to be one of the highest scoring cards here, because no one plays it, except the person who beat me with it today in a game in the Arena Direct.
Oh goodness.
But I seem to remember in my head thinking, oh, it basically costs 2 mana. And I know it taps for 3, which would mean it costs 5, colourless. So that's that one. Singularity Rupture is either 3 blue black or 3 blue black. It's 2 blue or 2 black, and I cannot remember which one. I've never played the card. I think it's blue, blue, black, and 3, but that's another one that I'm not 100% on. Ice Cave Crasher 3 in the green, that's easy. Devastating Onslaught is XX red. And I think a lot of people might know that one as well. Depressurized Black and a 1, that's a bread and butter card. And then Gigastorm Titan, on the card, is 4 and a blue, although you're not paying 4 and a blue for it 90% of the time. So I think the first two are probably the ones to go for, and I don't want to gamble on Singularity Rupture, although I think it's blue, blue, black, but I'll take Eternity Elevator, and I'm going to say it's 5 generic mana.
Alright, the Eternity Elevator being 5 generic mana. Let's see if that is correct here. It is correct, and it actually gets you 82 points. So, better than 100 here, but a little bit higher than I might have anticipated as well. Another card that I'm not sure I've cast before. So the Eternity Elevator being 5s for 82 points there. So that brings your score up to 318 through 4 rounds here. So as we said, Eternity Elevator 82, Singularity Rupture, if you had to take a stab at it, what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say 3 blue, blue, black.
It would be reversed. It is blue, black, black, which would get you 42 points if you were able to remember that. A little bit lower than the elevator here. You are correct, the Ice Cave Crashers 3 in a green, although that is 79, lower than the Eternity Elevator. Don't ask me, ask the survey participants. Devastating Onslaught, 55 points, XX and a red. You are correct there. Depressurize is the softball of the round for 97 points, 1 in a black, and Gigastorm Titan, 70 points, 4 and a blue. You are correct that you most often cast it for 1 and a blue, but the printed mana cost on the card is 4 and a blue. So 82 points there. Let's move on to round number 5. 2 rounds left here. We are looking at the rules text of cards. So these are the rules text, the entire rules text of 6 cards in Age of Eternities, and you have to identify what that card is. So we have destroy target artifact or tapped creature, you gain 3 life as letter A. The second spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast for B. Death Touch for C. When this creature enters, exile each opponent's graveyard and create a lander token is D. This creature's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1 is E. And to create a lander token, then you may sacrifice an artifact. When you do, blank deals 2 damage to each creature is F. Where are we going here?
Okay, working my way around. I think I believe it's called Radiant Strike. I'm sure it's got Radiant in the name. Yeah, that's the white 4 mana instant. I think Radiant Strike. B is, I want to say, it's the blue 3 drop. I think it's called Uthros Psionicist. It's definitely got like PSI in there somewhere, Psi something.
PSs and Cs and all sorts of things.
Yeah. C, Death Touch, that's the 1/1. I think it's called Hull Carver. D is that 3 mana 3/1 guy, the colourless guy. And I don't know the name of that card. Probably got Bot in there somewhere. Or Mechan, one of the two, but I'm not gonna go for that one. E, that's Cosmogoyf, but I think a lot of people might know that because it's got the memorable, it's a Goyf ending. And then F is Litho Breaking, which I feel like is a lot of people might know, but so far I've been way off on these.
And I'll give you a slight hint in my survey. I did not take a ton off for spelling for folks, because you personally don't have to spell in the game.
Yeah, so would people have known it's Uthro Psionicist? Well, my heart tells me no. No, sorry, my head tells me no, but my heart tells me to not listen to my head because so far it's been wrong on everything. Litho Breaking to me seems pretty straightforward. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna say F is Litho Breaking because so far I've been pretty wrong. And it is a bit of a weird word.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird word here. Let's see if Litho Breaking for F is correct. It is correct. And it's going down to 48 points. Not a bad score there for 48 points for Lithobreaking. And that was kind of the hint where, believe it or not, it's actually spelled B-R-A-K-I-N-G. A lot of people might have thought it was B-R-E-A, which is what a lot of responses were, but I didn't take off for that, so. Destroy artifact or tapped creature, you are correct, is Radiant Strike, and that gave you 36 points. Lower than Lithobreaking, interestingly. You are correct that B is Uthros Psionicist, and looking at the survey participants' answers I had a lot of laughs based on everybody's answers there. The amount of ways that Psionicist was spelled, or attempted to spell, or Wiggly Jellyfish Man, there's a lot of funny stuff going on. And it was all the way down at 15 points there, some of the lowest of the game so far. Death Touch is just Hole Carver. You did correctly identify that one for 33. This one is called Dauntless Scrapbot. You are correct, there was a bot in it, and it's down at 18 points. Not a lot of other people knew that either. Cosmogoyf, 94. Most people got that one. And the Lithobreaking, they're at 48. So, decent score there. There were a couple lowers available for you. But let's head into our final round, and you gotta look at the art. We have the art of A, B, C, D, E, and F. And you just have to tell me the card. Simple as that.
A is Divert Disaster. That's the blue counter unless they pay 2. B, I can't remember the full name of the card. It's the Sephora, or something like that. That black mythic. There might be more words to it though than just Sephora, like the Void something. I don't want to gamble on that because I can't remember the full name of that. C, I think it's called Beyond the Quiet. That's the whiteboard wipe, and again I think that's quite kind of memorable. A lot of people are going to know that one. D, I know the card is the green white rare, but I no idea what that card is called. E is, I think, Germinating Worm, the green 5-drop dude, and then we've got Chrome Companion, which that's got to be like 95 plus. And what the hell happened to its leg, by the way?
I know, right?
That dog has seen some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, although the card name is not too difficult, I think the art for A is a little bit, people might know the name of the card if you told them what it is, but they might not get it from the art. So I'm gonna go with A, and I'm gonna say that's Divert Disaster.
Okay, A, we're going with Divert Disaster. Let's see if that is correct. It is correct. How low will it go? It's all the way down at 30 points for Divert Disaster. Not a lot of art folks taking this survey. I will leave it at that and not call anybody out for the names I was getting for all of these cards. So you are correct. Divert Disaster getting 30 points. Take a stab at B. What would your guess say at B?
It's Sethora the Void Awakened.
You're very close, and I got a lot of very, very close answers in the survey as well. It is Sothera the Super Void. But a lot of people did actually know it, and I do believe I took if someone just said Sothera, because I also got a lot of SOPHs and things like that as well. So I was a little bit lenient on the respondents for Sothera as well there. We've got Beyond the Quiet, 33 down there for Beyond the Quiet. Diadrine Synthesis Amalgam. It's 15. I know it's a difficult one, but we got to have some hard ones in here as well. And I also just accepted Diadrine for this one as well. So if you couldn't even remember Synthesis Amalgam, because everyone who said the whole name also just got the beginning, and nobody else even got the first name. So all the way down at 15. Germinating Worm at 21 points might actually be the shock of the video. I'm kind of surprised not a lot of people knew that one there. And Chrome Companion all the way down at 45. So we have a lot of folks who just don't look at the art for cards. They have the Benzis Dark philosophy of Magic, where all the art could be the exact same black screen and they still love it. So that's where we're at. So there is 6 rounds. The lowest possible score you could have gotten is 600, or the highest, sorry, and the lowest you could have gotten is 169. And you scored 396. No idea how good to know that actually is, considering you're the first contestant. So how do you feel you did in the survey?
I mean, round one is still upsetting me. If I just said Brunta, what's that? That would have been 67 less.
An extra 67, yeah.
But it's difficult to. There's two steps to it, right? You got to not only know it, and then but also figure out what other people do and don't know. I could have done better on that one, but yeah, I'm happy with 396. It's in the middle, right, of the lowest and highest possible score. So
yeah, it's somewhere in the middle there. And yeah, you got 5 out of 6 answers correct. There was only one that you missed, so you got lower than 100 on 5 of the 6, which is a decent spot to be in. So that does it for our first contestant here in the video. Let's hop on over to the second. Okay, we're back in round 1 here with contestant number 2. We've got Oskar with us here, also known on the AGL server as Aussie Tubby. How's it going, Oskar?
It's going good. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so we did a little bit of the practice round and rules off camera here, so we can get right into round 1 with Oskar. And in round 1, as you have already seen, but Oskar hasn't, we are finishing the card name. We've got Halia, Steel Swarm, Dubious, Territorial, Galactic, and Virulent. And I will say, when it comes to Halia, there are 2 Halias in this set. I'm specifically looking for the rare Halia that is represented by this art here. So, as you see what's on the screen here, what are you thinking?
I'm quite happy. I think I know the Halia. It's in my league pool, so I've been looking at that card a lot. I'm quite bad with card names, but I know the Galactic Wayfarer as well. Other 4 are stomping me. But I believe the Halia is called guided by light or guiding. I don't know how tough we're being. I think it's guided by light, and I'd like to lock that in as the most rare one.
Okay, we're going with Halia Guided by Light. Let's see if that's correct. It is correct. Points are counting down. How low can we get? We're all the way down at 12
Sweet.
for Halia Guided by Light. Not a lot of people remembering Halia's name, especially considering it's a rare. It seems like you lucked out having it in your
I wouldn't
AGL
have
deck.
either. I would have had no shot.
Yeah. If it's any consolation, I also had no idea what the Halia was, but you did get it correct, along with only a few of our survey contestants here. So, as we saw, Halia Guided by Light is worth 12 points here. It says you knew Galactic Wayfarer. Did you know any other ones, or did you have any guesses for the other ones?
I mean, not at all. I know the top ones, like food related, I think. But I have no clue.
All right.
I struggle with card names.
Yes, me too. I would have missed a lot of these. Next, we have Steel Swarm Operator for 18 points. That's an uncommon in this set. I think when I put that on this quiz, I had no idea that card existed. And apparently neither did a lot of other people. So 18 points for that one would have gotten you. Dubious Delicacy, that's the 3-mana black flash artifact. 70 points for that. A lot of people knew that one. Territorial Bruntar, that's that 6-mana uncommon. 33 points for that. Galactic Wayfarer, you are correct, 48. And Virulent Silencer there for 24 points. Not a lot of people knowing that one either. So you did get the lowest amount of points you could have for round 1, so couldn't have done any better. And let's see if you are good at creature stats. So we've got 6 creatures, including some spacecraft that could be fully stationed here. And we are looking for their power and toughness boxes: Sunstar Chaplain, Emissary Escort, Entropic Battlecruiser, Infinite Guideline Station, Station Monitor, and Anti-Causal Vestige. So what are you thinking here?
Okay, I feel confident about at least one of these. The Station Monitor I know for sure is a 2/2. I think Anti-Causal Vestige, in my mind it's like a 6/4, but that's quite dubious. Guidelight Station, I'd shoot at like 5/5. Emissary Escort, I don't know if this is the 3/2 Defender Common or O something one rare that gets power equal to the largest artifact. White creature is small, but I'm not sure. And then the discard ship is like a 3/8 or something. I'm not confident on that at all. So this is tough. I think most people will know the station monitor is a 2/2. The second one I'm feeling most confident in somehow is the anti-casual vestige. So I'll try to guess that that's a 6/4.
All right, we're going to lock in Anti-Causal Vestige as a 6/4. Let's see if that is correct here. Unfortunately, not correct for the Anti-Causal Vestige. There's not quite a 6/4, so that adds 100 points to your score. But it's still early. You got 12 there at the beginning, so we'll see if we can recover. All right, Sunstar Chaplain, you're right. It is a smaller creature. It is a rare, and it is a 3/2. And it would have gotten you 42 points if you got that one right. Emissary Escort, it's the rare one. It's the 0/4 that gets plus X plus O for your highest artifact mana value. Entropic Battle Cruiser, strange stat line. You were very close. Not exactly on it. It's a 3/10. Kind of a strange one there. 42 points for that. Infinite Guideline Station, a card I'm not sure many of us have cast in the format, and if you have, you're having a lot of fun. It's a 7/15.
Oh, wow, really? That's
yes.
wild.
Very strange, but 24 points for that. Not a lot of people knew that. You are correct, Station Monitor was a 2/2, and that was actually worth 36 points.
36, I should have gone for that.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit higher too, but that's a card I actually haven't cast. I haven't drafted a lot of blue-white, so I'm not sure I would have even gotten that correct. And then the Anti-Causal Vestige is a 7/5, actually.
One last. Okay.
One off on both ways. That would have been 48 points, but as we did get it wrong, got 100 points. So let's move on to round 3 here, and we are looking at the warp costs for a couple of commons and uncommons here. So we're looking for the specific mana cost of the warp ability for Night Luminary, Mechanizoa, Perigee Beckoner, Red Tiger Mechan, Drix Fatemaker, and Bygone Colossus. So do you know any of these?
I think I know 5 of these. The Luminary, I think, is 1 and a white. Is it the exact cost or amount of mana?
The exact cost, including the color.
Sure. Okay. I think it's 1 and a white. The Mecha is 2 and a blue. The Tiger, I think, is 1 and a red. Fatemaker, 1 green. And the Colossus is 3 generic. And I'm not sure about the black one. I think it's 2 generic and black. So which one of these is the least guessed? I think the worst one is probably the Fatemaker, so I'll go ahead and guess that Drix Fatemaker costs 1 and a green.
Okay, 1 and a green for the Drix Fatemaker, doing a little metagaming and going for the worst card to see if people don't know what the worst card is. So let's see if 1 and a green for the Fatemaker is correct here. It is correct. And it assigns you 76 points. So we've got not a bad score of 76 here as we start to look at what the other ones would have signed you. The Night Luminary here is 1 and a white and 94 points. So almost everybody knowing Night Luminary. Mechanizoa, 97 points. About everybody in the survey knew Mechanizoa is 2 and a blue. Perigee Beckoner, 61. Looks like you didn't know that one, and the least amount of participants knew that one for this round as well. Red Tiger Mechan, 94. Drix Fatemaker we saw at 76, and Bygone Colossus, another 97 for 3 generic mana. So you did find the second lowest amount of points for here, so and the lowest among the ones that you did know. So we'll take it there. All right, updated score to 188. And we'll move on to round 4 here. And now we're just looking for the printed mana cost on the card. So we've got the Eternity Elevator, Singularity Rupture, Ice Cave Crasher, Devastating Onslaught, Depressurize, and Gigastorm Titan. How good are you with mana costs?
Decent. I think the Titan is 4 and a blue. Crasher's 3 green, 3 and a green. Depressurize, 1 and a black. I can't even remember what Singularity Rupture is, so I'm not going to touch that one. Eternity Elevator is around 5 generic, I'm not 100% sure. And then the Devastating Onslaught, I think, is XX Red, which is a pretty iconic casting cost, but I think most people would know the common, uncommon creatures, the removal spell. I'll say Devastating Onslaught XX Red.
All right, Devastating Onslaught XX Red, a very unique mana cost, you're correct. Let's see if that is the correct mana cost printed on the card here. It is. And how low can we go for Devastating Onslaught? 55 points. Not too bad of 55 points for the Onslaught here. So we went for the rare, and you got the correct answer for the rare. So we've got the Eternity Elevator. I think you threw out the guess of 5, and you would have been correct with 5, but it would have only got you 82 points. So Onslaught, a better choice there. Singularity Rupture. Do you know what the card does? You ever heard of it?
I have no clue.
So this is the blue, black, black, and 3 board wipe that destroys all creatures and spacecraft, I think is what it does. I should know. I have it in my League deck, and it's won me a few matches.
I don't think I've seen the spell cast.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, if we play in League, then I'm sure I'll cast it against you. My whole deck is kind of built around it. So 42 points, a little bit lower for that one as well. It's a tough mana cost. We had some blue, blue, black guesses in there, but blue, black, black is the answer. Ice Cave Crasher, 3 and a green is right. 79. Believe it or not, more people knew the Eternity Elevator than Ice Cave Crasher, which is kind of shocking to me. But there's the Devastating Onslaught, XX and a red for 55. Depressurize was the softball of the round, 97 points. Almost everybody got that right. And Gigastorm Titan, 4 and a blue, though we all know we're never really casting it for 4 and a blue unless you're in dire straits. So pretty good round there for you overall. Let's hop to round number 5, and we have the rules text printed on cards. So these specific rule texts are printed on only one card in EOE. So let's see if we can identify them. We have destroy target artifact or tapped creature, you gain 3 life. The second spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. There's a card that simply says Death Touch. When this creature enters, exile each opponent's graveyard, create a lander token. And then this creature's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. And then also create a lander token. Then you may sacrifice an artifact, and when you do, blank deals 2 damage to each creature. So can you remember the name of cards based on their text? I'm sure you've heard of these before.
I have clear images of a lot of these cards, but the names are eluding me. I think E is the only one that's I think is the Cosmogoyf, but it's probably the obvious answer. But the names of all the others just are nowhere to be found in my mind. Yeah, I'll go E Cosmogoyf.
All right, E Cosmogoyf. Let's see if it is in fact Cosmogoyf. It is. And 94 is the score for Cosmogoyf. So we kind of expected that a lot of people would know that, and they did. But let's see if you can throw out your wildest guess for the other ones here. So for A, if you had to take a stab at it, what would you say?
So I think it's something Strike or.
I wouldn't give it to you, but you are correct.
Radiant Strike.
Radiant Strike. I think it might be a common, maybe an uncommon. I'm not sure, but 36 points. You'll notice not a lot of people knowing the card names either, so you're not alone. B, this one's a super tough one. I'm sure you know this card, but any guess?
It's a blue 3-drop. It's alien looking, so it's something like Psycho talk.
Psycho's kind of close. It's Uthros Psionicist.
Psionicist.
It's a tough one, and the survey respondents were hilarious in their answers with Wiggly Jellyfish Man and all sorts of things going on in there too. C, I think you know it. It's the 1/1 black Death Touch creature. Any guesses the name?
Might.
Got Hole Carver. Next one over here is a tough one. It's not a particularly playable card by most, but we have Dauntless Scrapbot for 18 points. So a lot lower point scoring going on here in this round. Here is the Cosmogoyf for 94. And the last one is Litho Breaking for 48 points. So we're sitting at a score of 337 going into round 6, which is the art round. We've got 6 arts for cards in this set, and your job is to simply just tell me the name of the card that you see on your screen.
Card names again, huh? I mean, I have the white board wipe in my deck, but it's not there, but it might come to me. The rest, I mean, there's no clue. Cute popper down in the corner.
It is a cute
Something
pupper.
like
I will give you a hint.
psychic
It's not the
doll.
name of it. There you go.
I mean, is the board wipe just called like Edge of Eternity? There's no way, right?
The name of the set. Who knows? Could be.
It would have been iconic. The Edge of Space. Oh my god, there's just no way I'm guessing this correctly. I'll go with the C, Edge of Eternity.
All right, we're going with C for Edge of Eternity. You did correctly identify it is the white board wipe. Let's see if that's its name here. Not quite. Not quite the name. So we add 100 points to the score here for the incorrect answer. Can you at least identify what the card does for each of these? What is A? Do you know A?
A is the counterspell. 2, they have to pay 2. If they do, you make a lander.
That is the card Divert Disaster for 30 points. Can you recognize B by its art?
It could be the board wipe, but I think it's the 4-man enchantment that like you sack something and they sack something like that.
Yeah, it's close to what
card.
it is. Sothera the Super Void. I think it's kind of the poster card of the set. So yeah, 48 points for Sothera the Super Void. C is the board wipe. It is called Beyond the Quiet.
Beyond the Quiet, yeah, okay. Never getting that.
Would have got you 33. The next one is a super tough one. It's that green-white rare that deals with counters. Diadrene Synthesis Amalgam there. 15 points for that. Not a lot of people remembering his name. Surprise of the video is Germinating Worm for 21. It's that 5-mana common, but not a lot of people knew its name. And then we finish with Chrome Companion, the good boy himself.
Chrome Companion, that's
for
right.
45. So that is the end of round 6, and your score is 437, which is just barely above Nick's score
Man,
of 396. So highest possible 600, lowest possible 169, and you are just behind Nick there. How do you feel you did based on the answers you gave?
Overall, I'm quite happy. I'm kicking myself over the stats question. I should have just gone with the 2-2 that I knew. But other than that, I think I did the best that I possibly could on the rest of the questions.
Good, yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they took this survey as well in the server, were kicking themselves and being like, why don't I pay attention to the card names and the art a little bit more? So you're not alone in that, and I do too. When I made this, I was like, I would fail this quiz if I took it myself, but I'm not. I'm just hosting. So that does it for our second contestant here today. Let's head on to the third. Okay, and here we are in the final round with our final contestant of the day. We have Lotte, also known as, well, Lotte on the AGL server. So, hey, how are you doing today?
Hey, the rest, I'm doing great. Excited to get into the game.
Awesome, awesome. So we are right here in round 1 with Lotte, just like we were with Oskar, and we have skipped the practice round for camera, and we are going straight into round 1, which is finish the card name. So we have 6 cards on the screen, and your job is to finish the name of the following cards: Halia Blank, Steel Swarm, Dubious, Territorial, Galactic, and Virulent. And when it comes to Halia, there are 2 Halias in the set, and I'm specifically looking for the rare Halia, if that helps at all.
Yeah, the one whose art we're seeing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm thinking that the Steel Swarm and the Territorial, I don't know these for sure. I think the Territorial it's something with Char, but I'm unsure. So the Galactic, I know it's Galactic Wafer and Dubious Delicacy, but those are like common and uncommon that are like very, like they appear all the time in draft, so we'll see them all the time. Virulent Silencer, I think, is also an uncommon, but one that's like a little more thing. But I think I'm going with a Halia. I think it's got like a little more part to it. I think that people might be getting that wrong. I think it's called, her name in the rare card is called Halia Guided by Light.
All right, Halia, Guided by Light. Let's see if Guided by Light is the correct answer. It is the correct answer. Let's count down to how many points you can get for that. All the way down at 12 points.
Wow!
Not a lot of people knowing Halia Guided by Light there. So yes, Halia got you 12 points, which is quite impressive, and the lowest of the round here. Steel Swarm. Do you know Steel Swarm?
Steel Swarm Cutter? Is that a thing?
Almost. Steel Swarm Operator. 18. Not a lot of people knew that as well. That's an uncommon. I think it's like a 2-mana 1/1 flyer. I barely knew that card existed either. So you were correct.
I never...
Dubious Delicacy. That's 70 points. So a lot of people knew Dubious Delicacy there. Territorial Bruntar, the 6-mana uncommon for 33 points. Galactic Wayfarer. You are correct. 48 for that. I thought it would have been higher, but 48% knowing that one. And then Virulent Silencer as well, 24 points. So you identified some of the lower points of the round. So very good work there. So starting with 12 points. And we'll move on to round 2 here with creature stats. So some of these creatures are spacecraft that can be fully stationed. So we are looking for their power and toughness boxes that are printed on the card. For Sunstar Chaplain, Emissary Escort, Entropic Battlecruiser, Infinite Guideline Station, Station Monitor, and Anti-Causal Vestige. So what are you thinking here?
Ooh, I know some of these. I know like the Monitor is a 2/2. I know the Escort is a star 4. I was just looking at Infinite Guideline Station just before we went on air. But I'm not totally sure. I think it's like a 715 or something. I think I'll go with the Anti-Causal Vestige because I'm quite sure it's a 7/5. And the Battle Cruiser is like I think it's a 1 or a 3 something. I think it's got some weird stats. With the Anti-Causal Vestige, I'm like quite sure of the 7/5, and I think some people might have gotten that wrong if they weren't as lucky as me to have played with it a bunch of times.
There you go. Yeah, all right. Anti-Causal Vestige being a 7/5. Let's check out if a 7/5 is the correct answer. It is. And it drops all the way down to 48 points. So 48 for the Vestige here. So let's check out what the other cards would have gotten. You've got Sunstar Chaplain. You said 3/2. No, you said Station Monitor is the one you said you knew was a 2/2. Do you know Sunstar Chaplain?
I think it might also be a 2/2 or something in that range.
Close. It is a 3/2. It's that rare that is a 3/2. 42 points for that. Good thing you didn't go for Emissary Escort. You are very close in Star 4. We had a lot of Star 4 answers. It's actually printed as a 0/4. It just gets +X +0 based on the highest mana value of artifacts. So that's a very tricky one, but 24 points for that one. Entropic Battlecruiser is a 3/10. Decent amount of people knowing it was a 3/10. I'm not sure I could have gotten that one. Infinite Guideline Station, 715. You were correct there. 24 points. Station Monitor is a 2/2. 36 points for that. I think that was one that I might have missed prior to a draft I did yesterday because I had not drafted blue-white prior to yesterday, and I'm not sure I could have told you it was a 2/2, but it is a 2/2. And then the Vestige as a 7/5 for 48 points. So not a bad round either. That is the highest scoring one, but still 48. So that brings our score to 60. As we move to round number 3 here, which are the warp costs of a couple of common and uncommon. So we're looking for the specific mana cost, including the color, of warp costs for these cards here. For Night Luminary, Mechanizoa, Perigi Beckoner, Red Tiger Mechan, Drix Fatemaker, and Bygone Colossus. So what are we thinking here?
Alright, so we're just looking for the warp cost, not the mana cost, right?
Correct, just the warp cost.
Okay, I think I know all of them. I think like Luminary is 1 in a white, Mechanizoa would be 2 in a blue, Beckoner is 1 in a black, Mechan is 1 in a red, Fatemaker is 1 in a green, and Colossus is 3 generic. So I'm just trying to think like which one people are least likely to know. So one part of me is thinking like the Colossus maybe it, but I feel like that's like the warp thing is just like that's really the only thing about the card that like stands out. So like if people remember anything from the card, it's probably the warp cost. So probably shouldn't do it. I think I'm like torn between Mechanizoa as like the odd one out here, and the Mechem, because I feel like that's the least used one in draft. But I think people like could have gotten that right just by guessing. So I'm gonna lock in Mechanozoa for 2 and a blue.
All right, let's lock in Mechanozoa for 2 and a blue as the warp cost. Let's see if that is the correct answer. It is the correct answer. And it gets you 97 points. A lot of people knowing Mechanozoa there, which was kind of surprising to me. And you were actually correct for every single one of the other 5. You got all of them correct, so let's see if any others would have gotten you fewer amount of points. 94 for Night Luminaries. A lot of people knew that as well. Mechanozoa, 97. Perigi Beckoner was the odd one out here. That got us 61 points. So not a lot of people knowing Perigi Beckoner, which is kind of surprising because I think that might be one of the better warp cards on the screen here now, but that's what the respondents came back with for us. Red Tiger Mechan gives us 94 points as well, same as Night Luminary. The Drix Fate Maker, 76, a little bit lower. And the Bygone Colossus, 97 as well. So a little bit of a high-scoring round, but you did correctly identify a correct answer there, so we will take it. Let's move on to round 4, and we just have the printed mana cost now on the following cards. The Eternity Elevator, Singularity Rupture, Ice Cave Crasher, Devastating Onslaught, Depressurize, and Gigastorm Titan. So we're just looking for the mana cost on the card. What do we think here?
Ooh. Let me think. So I know the Pressurize is 1 and a black, the Crasher is 3 and a green, and Titan is 4 and a blue, but I think people will get those easy. So I think I'm go with one of the rares. So I think Singularity Rapture, if I'm correct, is 3 blue, black, black, which is a weird mana cost. Onslaught, I'm sure, is XX red. And I think the Eternity Elevator is 5 generic. I think it just taps for 3 colorless automatically, and then like once you station it, it does other things. So, but I'm like a little less sure about that. So I'm like a little torn between the 3 rares here. I don't know if I want to like take a bet on the Eternity Elevator. I think that's too risky. I think people are more likely to know Onslaught because it's like the X thing is just like central to what the card does. Same with what we saw with the Colossus last round. So I think I'm going with Singularity Rupture, and I'm going for 3 blue, black, black.
All right. Singularity Rupture, 3 blue, black, black. Let's see if that's correct here. It is correct. And it drops down to 42 points here. Not too bad, 42. I thought it'd be a little bit lower. It is a weird mana cost, but 42 is what we're going with. And once again, you are correct for every single one of the cards in this round. The Eternity Elevator is 5 generic mana, 82, so you did go with the Rupture, which got you 42, which is lower than that, so congrats on that. The Crasher surprised me a little bit, 3 and a green, but 79 points for 3 and a green there. Devastating Onslaught is right, XX red, 55 points for that. Depressurize is for those that felt left out and needed an answer. There's 97 points for 1 and a black. And the Gigastorm Titan is 4 and a blue, 70 points, although we all know we're not really casting it for 4 and a blue most of the time, unless you're in dire straits there. So we move our score to 199, and we have 2 rounds remaining. So let's move to the rules text round. So there are 6 cards in Edge of Eternities that have these exact rules text, and your job is to identify what those 6 cards are. We have Destroy Target Artifact or Tapped Creature, you gain 3 life. The second spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Death Touch. When this creature enters, exile each opponent's graveyard and create a land or token. This creature's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. And create a land or token, then you may sacrifice an artifact. When you do, blank deals 2 damage to each creature. So we've got the rules text. How good are you at remembering the name of the card based off of the text?
I can see like I can tell you what their mana costs are and what the art looks like. The names, we'll see. I know a couple at least, so that's good. I know that the Death Toucher is a Hull Carver and the E would be the Cosmogoi, but I think those are easy. I think F is Little Breaking. I think that's the one that I'm leaning towards. So B, I was looking at earlier. It's something. I think it Psionic something, but I can't remember the exact rule stack. The D is, I think, some kind of scrap bot, but I don't know what like the adjective for that would be. Maybe the A is a rescue, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going with F, little breaking.
Okay, F, lithobreaking. Let's see if lithobreaking is right here. It is correct.
I'm getting like my heart drops every time you start that animation.
Got to see if you're right or not. So 48 points, which moves our score to 247 here. Is maybe the first round you didn't get them all correct, which is fine. It makes us all feel a little bit better about ourselves here now. We've got Radiant Strike as the first one here. It's that, I think, common or uncommon white removal spell there for 36 points. Uthros Psionicist is the name of the card that reduces your second spell there for 15 points. And lots of people having fun with that one in the survey, I'll tell you that. Lots of fun answers for the Psionicist. You are right that Hole Carver is the Death Touch card. 33 points. Scrapbot is close. Dauntless Scrapbot is the name of that one. That 3/1 creature for 18 points there. Cosmogoyf, a lot of people got as well. 94 points. And Lithobreaking is 48. So we are 5 for 5 with 1 round left. A score of 247. Let's see if the art can provide you with some higher scores as well. So we have 6 cards on your screen with art, and we're just looking for the name of the card on the screen, and I'll give you a slight hint on D. I will accept just the name, the first name of the creature, as opposed to the thing after the comma, if you can remember that as well. So what are we thinking here with art?
Okay, so B is definitely Sotera the Super Void. C, that's Beyond the Quiet. D, I know there's an I in there. There, like an I in there somewhere, but I think it's like Dihedra or something. I don't think I'm confident enough about that. E would be Germinating Worm, and then A, something with landing. I think it's a counter spell. I think. No, that Coins variant, and then the F, I'm unsure about. So I guess I'll go with ones of the ones that I'm sure about. So it's B, C, or E. It's pretty hard here, like trying to figure out what one it is. I feel like Germinating Worm may be the hardest name, but like people probably play this card a lot. I think Sotera is like a harder name to remember, but Beyond the Quiet, it's a harder art to recognize, I think. I'll place my faith in Sotera, since that got me Collector's Boost book. Sotera the Super Void.
All right, there you go. Sotera the Super Void for B. Let's see if that is the correct answer. It is correct. How low can we go for Sotera? 48 points for Sotera the Super Void here. And once again, we stumped you on a couple here. You are right. The first one, letter A, is the counterspell. It's the common counterspell, Divert Disaster, for 30 points. Another kind of weird one where the art is a little bit obscure for folks. And more people got Sotera than they did Divert Disaster for 48 compared to 30. You are right. Beyond the Quiet is C. That is 33 points. The D is the green-white rare that deals with +1/+1 counters, Diadrin Synthesis Amalgam. Not a lot of people knowing that one either. 15 points for that. And the shock of the video, Germinating Worm.
Hey!
For 21 points. I don't know how people didn't necessarily know the name of that one, but I don't know. That got us 21 points. And the final one is Chrome Companion for 45 points. So that concludes all 6 rounds for us with a score of 295. How does it compare? It compares in first place. Nick got 396, Oskar got 437, and Lotte wins the video with 295 points as the Edge of Eternities pointless champion. How do you think you did?
With this, I was feeling okay with it. There were a couple rounds there, I think, like, I had a bit of a high answer, but I was very happy to not get any 100s. And like the Halia Guided by Light first pick, like, set me off on a good path. So quite happy with this, and looking forward to defend my title in the next pointless MTG.
We might have to bring you back and see if you can continue to win against other challengers. That might have to be how this goes. So that will do it for the first episode of Pointless MTG Edge of Eternities edition. Thanks for tuning in today, and I will see you in the next one.